Ow. Alright guys, for today's video, you may or may not have heard or seen that California, in all their infinite wisdom and being just a gigantic joke of a state, I said it, you guys know how I feel about this state, and you know how I feel about your governor, and someone's going to come in here to try and white knight for him. Just save your breath and your keystrokes, man. Doesn't matter. But you may have heard that they are looking to start banning about however many, about 90% of the tires that are available on the market in California right now. If you haven't heard that, watch this news story real quick, and then we'll talk about it.
California regulators approved new rules that will limit the type of tires you can buy when it's time to replace them on your car.
Yeah, while the California Energy Commission says that this is meant to save money for consumers, tire makers say that this will add to the cost of living here in the state. And Case Area 3 was the only TV station at the meeting today. Case Area 3 political director Ashley Zavala was there to watch the vote. So walk us through what this is supposed to do.
This was a lengthy hearing, and ultimately the California Energy Commission, in a unanimous vote, approved new rules that will phase out the sale of replacement tires that are currently sold in California that do not meet certain energy efficiency standards. It's expected to eliminate most of the tires that are right now sold in this state. The goal is for consumers to save money on gas or electricity if you have an EV by having more efficient tires. At the center of this is a tire's rolling resistance, or how much energy a tire uses as it rolls down the road. Lower resistance means a vehicle uses less gas or less electricity. New cars generally come with efficient tires, but consumers typically replace them with higher rolling resistance tires. This new rule comes in phases in California. So first, by 2029, California will only allow the sale of tires with a maximum rolling resistance level of 9.1. In phase 2, the standard lowers to 7.2 starting in 2033. That second phase means that an estimated 70% of tires currently sold in California will be eliminated from the market. The California Energy Commission has never regulated tires before, so this is a first. The commission claims the savings on gas and electricity will offset the cost of new tires in the beginning of these phases. The commission also claims this will improve air quality and provide other environmental benefits. But meanwhile, some tire makers have several concerns. Some say this is actually going to increase costs by limiting consumer choices. Here's what both sides of this new rule told us after the vote.
From the commission or the industry perspective, what we're really concerned about is the fact that these costs to the average, families in California that are, struggling with affordability, is that it's going to increase their cost by hundreds of dollars in phase 2. And we've highlighted that, and even in CEC's own data, you can see that. So we're rather disappointed that they move forward with phase 2.
Is there a backup plan if the California Energy Commission's expectations around cost savings aren't met with this rule?
Well, we're committed to doing this right. We are only doing it because we know it will save Californians money. So we're going to monitor, we're going to do our enforcement well. We have decades of experience with this. We have appliance standards that are saving Californians money every day. And so we're going to use that same capability that we have for appliance standards on this. And sure, we'll revise it if things become less practical, but we're pretty confident.
California is the first state in the nation to create a rule like this.
So where did this come from exactly?
Yeah, it's kind of a loaded question, but I mean, that's a question we asked Commissioner Skinner, who you just heard from. Governor Gavin Newsom fairly recently appointed her to the commission. She's a well-known environmentalist. When she was a state senator, she has written several laws that right now regulate the state's oil and gas industry. So the California legislature more than 20 years ago directed the California Energy Commission to explore this kind of tire efficiency rule. It sat idle up until this year. The current chairman of the commission admitted today he had no idea that legislation existed. I asked Skinner if she brought it up, if she pushed it. She didn't directly answer the question. She told me, had she been on the commission 20 years ago, maybe this would not have taken so long.
But the bottom line is we don't really know why now.
Right. She said, I mean, the cost pressures of gas and electricity rates at this point, but it's really not clear why they decided right now in this moment this year to do this.
Right. Or to let it be up to the consumer to decide if they want to invest in these tires that could save them money. Right.
Exactly.
Okay. Thank you.
So, as we saw that right there, first and foremost, it needs to be said that, yes, This was created however long ago, 23 years ago here. We're looking at the drive, all right? But 23 years ago, this little policy, this House State Bill, AB 844, was created to direct this stuff relating to tires. It sat dormant. People didn't even know it existed until this one lady, who was, you never elected, but was appointed by Gavin Newsom, decided to come in and start pushing this here to, quote unquote, save you money and the environment. Now, the lady says they have a track record of this with appliances regulations and stuff in California. All of those regulations are bullshit. And there's a guy on YouTube. You can go find him. I assume you can still find him. But it's a dude in Kentucky. And what he would do is he would take old like fridges and freezers from the 40s and 50s and stuff. And he would pull the doors off of them, leave them outside and running nonstop, hooked up to a power meter for like months at a time, and keep it and videotape it the entire time. When he did that with those old appliances and compared them to any of the new Energy Star ones, which are like these regulations that California is talking about, the difference in the cost to run the old fridge versus the new special regulated fridge was negligible, just pennies, a few cents either way, like being more expensive. Don't believe me? Go look them up, go find it. The videos are out there. You should be able to find them just fine. So they're claiming they have all this stuff that says they'll be able to do this and it'll save people money, when in actuality, it does not save people money. The reason that California's gas is so high and their energy bills are so high is because of their shitty policies that they institute. And speaking of shitty policies, let's talk about this new shitty policy here. 23 years ago, and this is per drive, the state legislature passed a bill, blah, 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 directing the California Energy Commission, which is a group of unelected bureaucrats. You never voted on these people. You never did. But here they are making what is, in essence, laws that bypass the legislative process that affects your life. Okay? You never voted for these people. But here they are creating these laws and, well, we can't even call them laws, but these regulations and all this stuff that carry the weight of law and stipulations, and they limit what you can and cannot do. Author and implement a new tire efficiency program. According to the Energy Commission, the program's stated mission is to ensure the replacement tires sold in the state are at least as energy efficient on average as tires sold in the state as original equipment on new passenger and light duty trucks. Okay. 23 years for them to start initiating this. Now, what they are talking about here with the rolling resistance tires, I'll explain that here if you don't know what that is. Rolling resistance is how much effort it takes to get something to move. The higher the rolling resistance, the more effort and energy you have to put into something to get it to actually move and break the contact of that, whatever that may be. Here we're talking about tires, so a higher rolling resistance on a tire means it takes more energy to get the vehicle moving. Generally, tires that have higher rolling resistances are softer. They have a softer tire compound. The softer tire compound has more contact and better grip on the road. When you have a lower rolling resistance tire, essentially what you have is a much harder tire to keep it, to help the car roll and move along a little bit easier than the softer compound tire. But the trade-off there is you lose any of the added performance that you have with this softer compound. Your handling goes down, your braking goes down, all this sorts of stuff. Does everyone out there need a low rolling resistance performance tire? Absolutely not. But people should have an option to get that if they want. A lot of laws and regulations and stuff on the road are passed with the understanding of like what people have access to. So there's like a lot of cars that are running very low rolling resistance tires. Or I'm sorry, very high resistance tires, like very performance oriented tires. Overall, the speeds can be higher and the braking distances can be shorter for those cars to be able to operate safely, okay? If you were to just take something that was set up for all the cars being on high rolling resistance tires change nothing, and then have all the cars switch to low rolling resistance tires, there is a chance that the people that will try to drive the way they're used to would not be able to safely drive at the higher speeds and the shorter distances because the performance is lost from that different type of tire compound. So there is that sort of thing to go through. And like I said, not everyone is going to need high rolling resistance tires. Not everyone needs performance tires, but everyone should be able to have the option of buying what they want. Okay. Let's see here. Straightforward. Seems straightforward. Automakers typically spec their cars with tires you simply can't buy off the proverbial rack. Sure, the make and model name may be the same as you see on your favorite car part retailer. So car part retailer, I guess. Automakers often request alterations to finer details. Performance tires may have shallower tread than the generic models they're based on to reduce squirm and make test drivers feel more confident. The same can be done with efficient tires to reduce drag. So yeah, so if you look at any sort of performance tire, you see very shallow water groove channels and a lot of extra actual rubber contact in the road. That is to maximize the performance that the vehicle is capable of and the tire can do. Low rolling resistance tires, they have much less contact with the road. They're much harder, and generally they'll have a much taller thread depth. And anytime just due to physics, if your tread depth is taller than like a lower thing, just the flex in the tread itself will be noticeable compared to a more performance-oriented tire. Jesus, man, that was a freaking mouthful. Just from the torque of the tire patch contacting the road and then to where that actual tire patch tread is contacting the belt and everything else on the rest of the tire. So there is more squirm and stuff in there, okay? Ever wonder why you don't get anywhere near the tread on your original tires is what manufacturers claim for replacement models? As noted above, optimizing the tread for grip or efficiency can simply mean shaving down the tire's tread, initially reducing its wear life. In other words, consider that next time you read customer reviews of original equipment tires, Michelin, Goodyear, and all may not necessarily be to blame for poor longevity of factory rubber. On the flip side of the equation, drivers often find that their replacement tires don't perform as well at the fuel pump. Their new tires may end up lasting them longer, but those savings often go right back to the gas tank. Tire efficiency has a significant impact on energy consumption of vehicles. How easy a tire rolls, referred to as rolling resistance, affects how much drivers spend on fuel for the vehicle, whether gasoline, diesel, electricity, or hydrogen fuel. The Energy Commission summary says. So, on that note, my Cruise, when I got it, I was commuting to work a good distance, and I had a lifted Jimmy, and I was killing me on gas. So I bought the most fuel efficient ICE vehicle that was available at the time, and that was the Chevy Cruise Eco. Okay, I got it back in 2010, or right into the beginning of 2011. That was rated at 42 miles to the gallon highway or something. I don't remember what it was. But it came with the ultra low rolling resistance tires. When I got rid of that, I did, when those ran out, I spent the money and got the same stock replacement tires. When those ran out again, I got different tires that are a little bit cheaper. In that entire time, between the low rolling resistance and the newer tires, I have not personally noticed really any lower fuel mileage in my vehicle. My own personal experience. When it comes to actually getting fuel mileage better in your vehicle, it comes down to how you drive. Not necessarily with the equipment, but how you drive. If you're not accelerating as flat as you can, if you're trying to coast as much as you can, if you're in the correct gear, going up and down hills as you can, if you're, not driving with your windows down, right? All of this stuff has an effect on what your actual gas mileage is and the drag associated with your car, okay? Much less with the tires, but more to do with how you actually drive. You can get much better gas mileage if you simply alter the way you drive, okay? Also, it should be noted, if you don't have proper air pressure inside your tires. If your tires are too low, it doesn't matter if they're low rolling resistance or not, you're going to get poorer gas mileage because it is increasing the overall surface area of the tire that is in contact with the road. And if you're trying to get as much mileage as you can with lower roll resistance tires, you want to have minimize the amount of contact you have with the road. So if your tires are underinflated, you will get worse gas mileage. If you want to get more gas mileage, and I do not recommend doing this because you get to a risk of actually hitting bumps and rupturing your tires, so it becomes unsafe. But if you were to add more air to your tires than what is spec'd for, you will actually increase your mileage because the tire itself is now elongating, and the tread the amount of tread that is touching the road is being reduced, both horizontally and both widthwise and lengthwise. If you want to look at it this way. If you're looking down from the top, if you add more air into it, it's going to shrink down. You got to imagine that your car is essentially riding on contact patches that are the size of 4 index cards. That is what is keeping you on the road. That's where all the performance that comes from in the vehicle. So if you are reducing the size of those index cards down to the size of a Post-it note, for an example, much less is contacting the road, much less resistance is happening, much higher fuel economy. California's new rules will close this gap. Once the rules goes into effect 2035, aftermarket tires will have to meet the same efficiency targets as other OE equivalents. If you're used to having your tires replaced at dealerships, this probably won't seem like a big deal. Of course, they have the original tires for your car, right? The regulations proposed in the staff report are, if adopted, expected to save each California driver of a gasoline passenger vehicle about $179 in 2024 dollars in fuel costs, and over the typical 4-year life, a set of new tires. So let me read that again. Over the typical 4-year lifespan of a set of new tires, this regulation that carries the weight of law is expected to save California drivers $179. $179 over the course of 4 years, and that's in 2024 dollars. So that would be saving about $44.75 a year in fuel costs in 2024 dollars. In total, continues the regulations are anticipated to save California drivers about $979 million in 2024 dollars in fuel costs annually in 2035 and reduce greenhouse gas emissions by an estimated 2 million metric tons of carbon dioxide equivalent into 2035. If you watched my whole thing about the Axon light post and who funds it and how it's all tied into the climate control stuff, you know exactly how I feel about this. Yes, we need to take care of the environment, but this is an actual scam. It is 100% a scam, which, shockingly, if you haven't figured it out by watching that video, the same lady that was in charge of writing a bunch of legislation for gas and oil companies in the state and an over-environmentalist was the one that got put on this board. So, of course, it's all about control, right? That's less than 2% of California's total passenger fleet CO2 footprint. Less than 2%. Doing all this to reduce less than 2%. CO2, and I'll say in this video again, CO2 is not inherently bad. CO2, everything on this planet is carbon-based. Carbon, the C in CO2, in carbon dioxide, okay? The O in there is oxygen, is what we need to breathe. The more CO2 we have, the more plants get to absorb it, and the more oxygen is produced. CO2 is not in essence bad. It is just a natural byproduct of life in general. This is where the whole climate whack jobs went crazy, and they went down the wrong path where they tried to label CO2 as being the one thing that is actually controlling the quote-unquote warming of the planet. There are multiple factors if you think the planet is getting hotter. We have been coming out of an ice age. Just think of the picture of Washington crossing the Delaware River back in 1775. There was ice floating in that river. When was the last time you've ever seen little icebergs floating in the Delaware River? We are coming out of a mini ice age. 2, none of these people that are talking about climate change take into account anything space weather related. Our magnetic field around the Earth is weakening at an exponential pace. That is why we are seeing auroras from very mild solar storms all the way down in Mexico and the Bahamas. Auroras, the northern lights, are supposed to be at the very northern latitudes because if you think of the way the Earth is laid out, you have it's a magnet in essence, and you have the North and South Pole, and out from the North and South Pole there emanates a big round shield that comes out the north and down to the south, and at the North and South Pole there's funnels of how that shield emanates out. When the magnetic field is weakening, all of the extra energy that it would normally be pushed away and kept from hitting the Earth by the magnetic field, extra energy is now starting to get in. And where is it getting in? At the polar regions. And where is it supposedly warming up the fastest on the planet? At the polar regions. Okay? This is why I don't buy into this man-made climate change wackadoo nonsense, because it takes into account nothing else. It also doesn't take into account that all these weather stations that they are using were formerly out in fields away from everything, and now they are being swallowed up by cities that are expanding. Cities themselves are generally hotter. There are many weather stations that haven't been painted in decades, and that lack of being painted is accounting for a 3-degree temperature rise at those weather stations. That's just the truth of the matter. Look all that up on your own, okay? Educate yourself. But I do not believe in this man-made climate change stuff. So when you have people making stuff like this and making claims like this about this CO2 and all this stuff, it holds no water to me. But yes, we do need to take care of the environment because we only got one place to live. But trying to do all this and limit what people can and can't do and this climate crisis scare tactics to control people, nah, man, I'm not down with it. I'm not down with any of that shit. Okay, under new rule, we're likely to see tire manufacturers expand their offerings to include varying rolling resistance in much the same way we see tires spec for various load ratings today, except options for niche or limited run models be expensive. They could be expensive. Blah 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 blah. Okay. Let's skip down here. The California Energy Commission staff analysis shows that the regulations proposed in the staff report are technically feasible, are cost-effective, and will not compromise safety, reduce tire life, or increase tire waste. Again, well, I want to go on this. Anytime anyone wants to quote you a study to show something, you will be able to go find a study that says the exact opposite. And why is that? Because anytime a study is funded, the study always matches the outcome that the funders want the study to see. Okay? So someone wants to see that the world is warming up or whatever. The studies that will be produced will verify what they are believing, what they want to see. So when the staff analysis shows that the regulations proposed in the staff report are technically feasible, they are cost effective and will not compromise safety, reduce tire life, or increase tire waste, of course they're going to get that because that's what they want the outcome to be. So we can test these claims right now. I already explained to you how safety can be compromised between the two. I already did that. All right. Will it reduce tire life? That all comes down to how people drive mostly, but I guarantee you that the stuff that you are actually told how long a tire will last, it will not last that long, okay? Or will it increase tire waste? There should be, if in this scenario here, if tire life is not decreased, then no, tire waste should not increase at all because it should be the exact same. But that comes down to, is tire life in fact being reduced or not, okay? Is it technically feasible? Of course it's technically feasible to have tire companies make different size tires because there's already low rolling resistance tires out there for you to choose from. Okay, so now let's verify this about it being cost effective. Here, $179 in 2024 dollars. I went and I looked this up here. $179 in 2024 is equivalent to $190.65 today, thanks to the lovely inflation. Okay, so now for shits and giggles, let's go and test this here. Let's go over to Discount Tire. This is one that's in Dallas because VPNs. If you don't have a VPN, you need to have a VPN. So let's kind of look here and see. Here we have a Century Touring one for $81. Let me click on this. What is the 40,000 mile warranty, okay? 40,000 mile warranty. Now, and I had this set for my Cruise Eco, so we have a baseline here to go with. Now this here, the Goodyear Assurance Fuel Max tire. My car originally came with the Goodyear Assurance. So this would just be the 2026 equivalent of what I got in 2011 and I bought the second time. This is now $166. This has a 65,000 mile warranty. You will not in any way get anywhere close to 65,000 miles out of this tire. Why do I know this? Because I've had these tires twice. I'm already on my 5th set of tires and I'm only at like 135,000 miles. They do not last. They just don't. So now let's just look at the first page here. So we have tires that are $81 appears to be cheapest right now. 109, 115, 160, 57. Look, you can get tires for $57 here. Entry level, all season. It doesn't even say if there's a mileage guarantee on this. Maybe it's because this is an online only deal. I don't know. But let's just say you're a person that needs some tires and you don't have a ton of money to spend, okay? All season rubber, all season rubber, all season rubber. So here we go. So let's do, let's say you should be getting these. So this is just in Texas. So let's say you're going to get four of these Goodyear Assurance tires, not counting tax or fees or installation or disposal of the tires, okay? That will cost you $664. All right. Here, let's go with these all-season tires. 57 times 4, again, same thing. This will cost you $228. But don't you worry, per California, over the span of 4 years, you're going to save $190.65, okay? So $664 minus $228, that gives us $436 difference between the two tires that you could buy now and what you will be forced to buy in the future. But don't worry, we are saving ourselves $190.65. So we'll subtract that from that price. So California's rule applied to Dallas would have the benefit of costing us an extra $245.35 to save $190.65. That's in Dallas. Okay, now let's go over here to California. Let's just find, let's just go to the shithole. Los Angeles. I don't know what any of this is. Let's pick Glendale. Sure. Well, let's go with Glendale. Let's set this one as my store. All right. Okay. Apparently, Discount Tire is America's Tire in California. Sure. All right. Let's see what they have to offer here. Let's just go tires. Whatever. Okay. Sure. Oh, God. Why do I have to jump through all this nonsense? Stopping and traction, life of tire, fuel efficiency. Let's go for fuel. Since this one says fuel efficiency, let's go for the fuel efficiency one. All right. Fuel efficiency. Let's go. Again, let's see what they have. Oh, boy. Oh, California, you're getting raked over the coals here. $210. $176, $216, $115, $215. Do they have the equivalent of... I don't even see that Goodyear Assurance one offered here. So what, is this a low rolling resistance tire here? Does Bridgestone one? All season run flat. I'm trying to find something that is equivalent to that Goodyear Assurance. Hurry up. Guard plus. Silver edition, all season. Goodyear Electra Drive. What is this? I don't know if this is supposed to be a low rolling resistance tire. It only has a 32 to 41,000 mile warranty. But let's see here. Go back. Here, let's use their recommended one. This Continental Contact, or well, no, the Michelin will be the better one. It's their #1 best match. Okay. All right, here we go. Estimated tread life of 62 to 82,000 miles. So we'll go with this one. All right. So once again, it will be $210 times 4, not counting for all the other fees. That gives us $840 for a set of 4 here. And it looks like here, as of right now, from what I saw, scroll, come on, go back, that you could still get, or maybe you can't get it. Yeah, so as opposed to $57 in Texas, it's $58 in California. So 58 times 4 for the same, at least I found the same tire there that you can get there shipped to. That's $232. So 840 minus 232. That's $608. But we know we're going to save ourselves in 2026 money because we did the adjust for inflation. $190.65. So over the course of the 4 years of the tire and us saving $190.65 because this is doing to save us money. By saving $190.65, it's going to cost us $417.35 to save that $190.65. Don't you see, guys? This is California. They're all about saving you money. They're all about it. They're looking out for you. They're looking out for the environment. This law, regulation, or whatever is ridiculous. This is just another way of California leading the country in stupidity. But yeah, I just wanted to go through this little exercise, guys, so we can talk about this and we see exactly how ridiculous and stupid this is. Hopefully you hung out to the end so we can talk through this and do the little math here. But yeah, California, way to go, you bunch of fucking morons. I'm going to tell all you people from California, when you do, and you guys are fleeing it like rats on a sinking ship, when you go someplace else, leave your bullshit policies behind. Do not go to the place that you fled to and bring and vote for the same policies that you actively fled from. All right, guys, that's all I got for today. Like, comment, subscribe, and all that stuff, and I will see you next time. Thanks for watching.